Well, I got involved in Mind and Soul, I guess about 3 years ago now, and I'd had some tough experiences following the London bombings. I just got really stressed out. I had something called post-traumatic stress disorder, and I've been really involved in the rescue effort around Edgware Road Station. But 3 months after that, the emotions of the day kind of caught up with me, and then I got really stressed out. I mean, I'm a kind of, well, I like to think of myself as some sort of rough and tough sportsman, you know, and pretty robust, and the whole idea of kind of, you know, being very tearful or being very anxious wasn't something that was really on my agenda. I just thought that sort of emotional health, stuff like that, that's for people who aren't, you know, very stable, rather than people who maybe feel quite confident about who they are and who God's made them. And Rob said, as a consultant psychiatrist, do you feel a lot of stigma in the church about mental or emotional health? And I said, yes. And he said, well, I feel a lot of stigma about being a Christian in the mental health services. So that's where we kind of got together. And the idea was that we would bring the two ends of that together. So we would support mental health professionals who are Christians, and we would support Christians who were struggling with emotional and mental health issues. And then we would affect the church for change on both levels, and that's really where things really began, I guess, in the form that they are now.
In your average Christian church today, I'm not really sure it's something that is talked about. You know, I don't know when you heard your last sermon on depression, for example. It's that the churches often have maybe a couple of people who they look after who are obviously mentally ill, but do they really include them in the fellowship? And then they also have maybe some people who actually struggle with depression or eating disorders but can't talk about it, and they suffer in silence and everyone thinks everything's fine, but in actual fact it's not.
The mentality is really interesting. I mean, we would go to the doctor about any physical ailment, yet often in church, any sort of sense that you might go to see the doctor about an emotional mental health issue is sometimes sort of creates a level of discomfort. And using mental health services where people are struggling with more significant or enduring mental health issues, then often, yeah, they do feel a sense of being ostracised from the church.
At the moment, there is a stigma between mental health and Christianity, and we want to create a proper interface, a discussion, a communication between mental health professionals and church professionals. We want the churches to actually talk to the psychiatrists, the nurses, the doctors, the social workers, so that actually they know what each other are doing, so they can actually seriously think about the whole need of the individual, the emotional need, the psychological need, and the spiritual need. Far too long we've had a gap.